It's not lore time yet.
Yeah.
It's sibling incest time.
Yeah. Welcome to Inchworm,
The podcast in which we're inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
and I'm Ted.
And this time we read the Panacea chapter.
The Amy interlude.
The Amy interlude. That was quite the chapter. It just went in a lot of directions.
Yeah.
I did not expect.
By far the most notes I have taken on a chapter. I think the longest chapter
It is
in
definitely
the
the
story
longest
so
chapter
far.
so far, yeah.
It's not the longest chapter in Worm.
Oh no, I'm sure. I mean,
I
I kind of expect this to be like normal to short for the chapters we're getting to. It's my impression. Like, I think they're just going to get really long. But
right.
Do I summarize this one?
You have the honor of summarizing.
Okay. We start. Amy's sitting on her bed with a piece of paper in her hands. It is a letter from the Guild to her mother. The Guild being another independent superhero organization in the town, I understand.
It's the Canadian
Oh, that's
group
right.
that Dragon is part of.
Oh, it's like the Canadian Protectorate?
Sort of.
Okay.
It's a Canada-affiliated hero team.
Got it. They're messaging Carol, Amy's mother, adopted mother, to let her know that Marquis in the birdcage is concerned about this potential attack on Amy that we learned about in the Dragon interlude. And as part of that, of course, the letter communicates what Carol already knows, which is that Amy is Marquis' daughter. And Amy, it seems, is discovering this from the letter and having a lot of feelings about it.
Don't.
Yeah. But now that the door's open, she can't shut it again. A great theme of the interlude. And she's less concerned about the threat to her life than she is about the knowledge of who her father is. And she reflects on him a little bit, and it's like, he was callous and heartless. Aren't I callous and heartless? I don't feel anything when I heal people. She also reflects that Marquis was described by her Uncle Neil as someone who was very methodical, who had rules for himself. In his case, he had a warped sense of honor. He didn't kill women or kids. And she's like, well, don't I have these rules about how I use and don't use my power? So she's really worried about the parallels. Her mom knocks on the door and behaves very coldly towards her, says that there's some howling near the train yard. Glory Girl and Carol, as Brandish, are going to go check it out. Can Amy look after Mark, her father? Amy says, of course, and follows her downstairs. We learn that both Carol and Victoria, Glory Girl, are annoyed with Amy, angry with her, acting coldly towards her, and that her father, Flashbang, Mark, is profoundly disabled due to a blow to the head from Leviathan. He has brain damage where he has lost most of his ability to control his body in the ways that he would normally be able to. He can't walk, speak full sentences. We do find out, like, Amy has done a bunch of work on him, and she knows that his mind is, like, fairly awake in there, but his physical abilities are very limited. And the point of contention between Amy and the rest of her family is that she has the ability to heal him, but that would mean working on brains, and she just flat out doesn't do that. And she hasn't been willing to get herself to do it, and she sort of alludes to, like, they don't understand the reasons, they don't understand how bad it would be, they don't understand why I'm afraid, and neither do we at this point in the chapter. Amy reflects a little bit on how her family never really accepted her in the first place. Her mom didn't want to take her in, it was just that their family was in a slightly better position to do it than her cousin's family. And her dad, Mark, was trying to be a good father, but he suffered from clinical depression, and so he was very inconsistent. He didn't always take his medication, which hampered his ability to do the things that involved her. And Victoria was always the only person who made her feel like she had a family. But right now, Victoria is icing her out. And Amy says, like, she wasn't able to defend her position, but she was still refusing to do it. And she thinks that she is justifying the darker suspicions Carol has always harbored towards her because of her origin. She watches some TV with Mark, asks him if he needs anything, gets up and goes to the kitchen to get him some water. And she thinks while she's in there, she's like, I'm going to lose my family no matter what. I need to leave. I should just heal Mark and leave. And so she is deciding to do this. She's like, I just need to work up the courage. And then the TV turns off. She's like, oh, did Mark do that? She goes back into the room, and there's a girl standing there. Her blonde hair had been curled into ringlets with painstaking care, but the rest of her was unkempt, filthy. She's about 5 or so years younger than Amy, which is very young. Mm-hmm. And Amy recognizes her as Bonesaw.
Yay.
Yay, indeed. And Amy's like, okay, did Empire 88 get a member of the Slaughterhouse 9 to murder me? Like, whoa. And there's someone else there with Bonesaw. It's Hatchet Face, except it's not just Hatchet Face, because when Amy tries to escape from him, she, like, runs to the door. Her father tells her to run. She runs to the door, opens the door, and there he is again. Except that, like, his previous body dissolves into dust. He's using Oni Lee's teleportation power, and in fact, Oni Lee's face is, like, attached to his back. Yeah, their bodies are melded together, Hatchet Face's and Oni Lee's, and Bonesaw is like, yes, I did this! It was so hard, I had to use robots because Hatchet Face's presence removed my power, so I had to do it all at a distance. And Amy's like, oh my god, who is she gonna meld me with? And we learn that Hatchet Face was lobotomized so that he would obey. Oni Lee was not. He can't control his body, but he is alert and aware in there. And Amy's like, this is horrifying. And Bonesaw's like, what, you don't appreciate this? Like, you're the only other person like me who works with meat, as she says. And she talks about how the human body is really just an intricate wet machine.
She's not wrong. Wetware.
So then a couple of other people come in, or perhaps more than a couple, depending on how you count. One is a combination of the person who used to be Mouse Protector.
Mouse Protector!
Exactly. And Ravager, now known as Murder Rat. And sort of a horrifying extra jaw and teeth situation, and like machete claws for hands and feet. And then there's another person who's like, sort of like a centaur, but like the bottom half is also a person, but when you get to the neck, there's another person.
Nice. Human centipede.
Yes, yeah. And that one, the bottom person is Carnal, who's a healer who heals more by bathing himself in blood.
As one does.
Yes. And the one on top was Prophet, who was convinced he was Jesus reborn.
And that was his power.
Apparently.
He's also a healer, we learn later.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
we do know.
healing.
Double healing. And Bonesaw's like, oh, I was going to name that one something like a shrine, but with multiple floors. And Amy's like, a pagoda. And she's like, yeah. So we have Pagoda and Murder Rat. We learn that Murder Rat used to be Mouse Protector, who was this like dorky, campy hero who used bad puns so her enemies would be embarrassed to lose to her. And Ravager asked the Slaughterhouse 9 to take down Mouse Protector, and they did, but they also took down Ravager because they're like, we can't be used as like errand boys and girls, so we're gonna kill you too. And then Bonesaw got to combine them.
It's funny because that's the same anecdote that Jack tells Theo, that like we showed up to a meeting and just like, who wants to hire us? And then we killed the Protectorate, we killed the people who hired us.
Why do people keep hiring the Slaughterhouse 9?
It's just funny that it happened more than once.
It's true. I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but weird that it happened twice. So Bonesaw's like, yeah, you gave me that name, Pagoda, we're a great team. And Amy's like, oh my god, how can I get away? And Bonesaw's like, no, I want you to be my teammate. I've always wanted a big sister.
Aww.
And Amy's like, I'm a very bad sister. And Bonesaw's like, no, I'll teach you. He's like, she does say, you know, we'd be so good together. Bonesaw could do the big combining stuff. Amy could smooth it all out. And, like, together, there's, like, no limit to what they could make. While this is happening, there's a message on the answering machine that they can hear. Carol is calling saying, Amy, we're dealing with Hellhound. There are injured people. Get someone else to look after your dad and come over and help. But then the message cuts off. There's a sound of a clatter and a distant barking sound. Anyway, back in the room, Amy's basically saying, like, no, this is not going to work, but Bonesaw pins her down with Hack Job, which is the Hatchet Face Oni Lee combination. And while he's touching Amy, her power doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work on him, and she can't even feel the pinprick sensation of innumerable microscopic airborne life forms touching her that she usually feels. Like, good lord, her power is really intense. Bonesaw says, like, Jack's taken me on. I'm his protege now. He says I need to focus on the internal, what's in people's heads. And this is basically Amy's worst nightmare. Bonesaw says, like, we'll find your breaking point, Amy, and then you'll find yourself in a place where you want to join us. And she's, like, grinning about this. And Amy's like, please, no. And Bonesaw's like, all right, are you afraid to hurt people? That can be our first exercise. And she sends Murder Rat after her, gets Hack Job to move away so Amy can use her power again. And Bonesaw says you have to hurt Murder Rat, take her apart. If she's able to move, she'll cut you, and then she'll cut a body part off the man on the couch. So Amy's like, well, okay, fine. And she severs the tendons and she severs the ligaments in Murder Rat's shoulders and hips. Before she does that, she gets a sense of her whole body. She realizes there's a wire frame in there holding everything together, which gives Bonesaw her control over this other body. And there's also a death trap around the heart. If the control frame is disabled, there are all these needles pointing towards her heart that will inject her or stab her or whatever, and she'll die. She also realizes that the women are both awake in there, which is terrifying. So she severs the ligaments, the woman falls into a heap, and Bonesaw's like, oh, you didn't kill her. You're letting her suffer? Weird. Are you against mercy killing? Oh, are you against killing in general? We can work on that too. So then she sends Pagoda after Amy. So Pagoda is a combination of two healers, so Amy starts doing the same thing to them, but he is healing too fast. And we get some context from Bonesaw on this, that she uses her creations to collect more material for her work. So she kills people, reanimates their bodies in these ways, uses them to get more body, it's this whole cycle. And having the 9, she says, was essential to get things started. Now she sticks around because they're mostly fans, and they're kind of family. She's like, because I have them, I could sacrifice these people. And she tells Amy there's only one way to stop Pagoda. And she starts counting down, and Amy tries a bunch of things, but she can't get anything to work. And finally, she disconnects his body from the metal frame, which results in sort of the death trap going off around his heart. There are these canisters of fluid that Bonesaw says is a chemical trigger for something she already put in his DNA, which reverses the regeneration so that it does the opposite, starting with his heart. And Amy's like, okay, well, I just killed someone. It was a mercy killing, but wow, it was so easy. What does this mean? And Bonesaw's like, ready to join. Amy's like, absolutely not. I do not want to hurt people. Bonesaw's like, but we can change that. Everyone can be changed. And Amy's like, why don't you change? And Bonesaw's like, well, I like the other members of the 9, and I couldn't make anything really amazing if I was following the rules. And she tells Amy, she's like, why don't we combine 100 heroes and then we can make someone who could stop the Endbringers? Amy's like, nope. Bonesaw's like, no, you have to. I'll never be a true genius until I can get inside people's heads. And so she's still looking for Amy's breaking point. She's like, what about this guy here? She points to Mark, you live in this house. Why haven't you healed him? And Amy's like, my power doesn't work that way. She lied. And Bonesaw's like, no, I know it does. I know everything about powers. It turns out she has taken 20 or 30 people apart to figure out how their power works so that she can put them back together the way she wants them. She has induced trigger events in people while she has them on her table and wired to computers so that she can study what happens as the powers take hold. She says she knows where powers come from and that the powers aren't meant for us, they're accidents. Their powers aren't meant to work on the things they work on. That's sort of an adaptation the powers have made. The powers come upon us when we have our trigger events. She says they decrypt our brains, find something they can work on, strip everything else away, and then, before they can destroy us, figure out a way to function with us and protect us from the ways our powers might hurt us. She says that Amy's quote-unquote inability to affect brains is just one of those protections. It's a mental block, and that Bonesaw can help her break it. And she sends one of her robots to attack Mark and cuts into his brain, injects acid into his brain. So he's basically about to die, and the only way for Amy to save him is to fix his brain. And so Amy climbs onto Mark's lap and touches his face and reflects that she has already done a lot of work on his body in the last few weeks. She's been healing him. It's kind of the least she can do. She's even rewiring some of his functions so that, like, he goes to the bathroom on a schedule to reduce the need for diapers. Really in-depth stuff. But now she's working on his brain, and she can do it. It's tricky because a lot of the parts are pretty damaged, especially after what Bonesaw just did, but she's kind of building it, like tracing everything back and figuring out how it's supposed to work, restoring all the functions. And she reflects it's not that she thinks she'll do something wrong. What scares her is what comes after, now that she's done this. She finishes, he opens his eyes, she can see that he's better. She draws his hands into his lap, where Bonesaw hopefully won't be able to see, and an orb of light grows in his hands. And they act together. Amy jumps off of him, he leaps up and attacks Hackjob. He has orbs that can be concussive or explosive, so he and Amy do battle against Hackjob and the little robots, and seem to do pretty well. Mark is very strong. Flashbang, I guess. But Bonesaw gets away. It's unclear if Hackjob is actually destroyed or if he just also gets away. And then, once their enemies are gone, Mark's first question is, can Amy help Murder Rat? Which, no, apparently. She says no. And so he gives her mercy blow. And she apologizes to him for not helping him sooner, and he just stops her and says thank you. And asks if she's okay, says, you know, sit yourself down, I'll call your mother and sister, make sure they're okay. Maybe the Protectorate can come guard us. It's in case Bonesaw comes after you again. And Amy's like, yeah, sure. I'm going to go pack in my room, so I'll be ready to go. And she goes to her room. She packs up her things. She writes a note saying she's sorry it took her so long to help Mark. Goodbye. I love you all. And she's not planning to come back. So she climbs out the window and leaves. And then, of course, Glory Girl finds her because Amy is just walking on the street and there's a curfew, so there aren't very many people out. And Glory Girl can fly 50 miles an hour, so kind of inevitable that she find her. And Victoria's like, I don't understand. Like, why did you heal Mark now and you wouldn't before? Amy's like, well, I had to. Like, I was forced into it. Okay, but why couldn't you? And Amy's just like, I can't explain it. And Victoria's like, okay, but why are you leaving? We can get you a therapist. Like, what's going on? I feel like I don't even know you. You're, like, hiding all of these things. You have some secret that you go berserk over at the bank robbery, and you say something to Skitter that causes this huge commotion in the hospital after the Endbringer attack. And Amy's like, you don't know who I am? I'm Marquis's daughter. And Gloria Girl's like, okay, wow, I didn't know that. New information. But, like, that doesn't matter. You're Carol and Mark's daughter, even if you have his genes. Come home with me. And Amy's like, well, they don't really care about me. They don't really love me. And Victoria's like, I love you. And pulls her into a hug and is like, we'll work this out as a family, even if that just means the two of us. And Amy thinks that, like, all it took was one moment of weakness, and she reaches her power into Victoria's brain. And it was barely a conscious action on Amy's part, is the narration there. And Victoria lets her go, was like, what did you just do? And Amy's like, oh no, this is the worst thing. This is what I was afraid of. Let me undo it. And Victoria won't let her touch her again. And Amy's like, no, this is why I didn't want to break my rules. Like, I was okay as long as I was following the rules. Like, and Victoria realizes that what Amy's secret is that Amy has romantic feelings for her. And Amy tells her that what she just did was make it so Victoria would return her feelings. And Victoria is, of course, horrified. Amy's begging her to let her fix it. Like, then I'll leave. You'll never have to see me again. But Victoria's like, why would I ever trust you to do that? Short-sighted, but we'll talk about it. Victoria's like, it doesn't matter. I will get someone else to fix it, or I'll show some self-control, unlike you. Amy's like, you are underestimating what I did. And Victoria's like, well, good job. You did an excellent job of, like, doing the one thing that would have actually kept me from, like, defending you, giving you the benefit of the doubt, etc. You were worried about being as fucked up as your dad. Congratulations. I'm pretty goddamn sure you just surpassed the man. And then she leaves. And Amy is there on the street alone. The end.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a big one.
It really, really is. Yeah.
Yeah. Big Amy chapter. Introduction of Bonesaw. Huge lore dump.
Yep.
Lots of great stuff from Victoria and, new ancillary characters, Mark and Carol.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you feeling?
I just didn't see the incest twist coming. Like, I just didn't expect that even a little bit. Like...
Do you want to go back to what Amy says about her secret earlier in the story?
Oh, sure, yeah. I didn't look it up. Please tell me.
So going back to the bank job, when Tattletale is talking to her, she's like, well, I figured out who Amy's dad is. Mm-hmm. Honestly, seems pretty easy to have done. Amy could have done this if she went on, like, Parahumans Wiki. But she was avoiding
She didn't want to,
issue.
Yeah.
And Victoria's just not curious, I guess.
I think she also doesn't want to know.
But that's probably true. Yeah. Go in the vault, Glory Girl, and I don't speak on this new secret I've uncovered. I won't say the one sentence that tears your family apart. And Glory Girl's like, well, whatever, I'll face the consequences. Very principled. Very self-involved, too, that you think the secret and the consequences have to do with you and your overzealous nature. They don't. They have to do with her. You won't be tickled pink either, but the aftermath would be hers to deal with. Humiliation, shame, heartbreak.
Ooh, yeah. Humiliation, shame, and heartbreak. That sounds right.
And then later, when Amy's talking to Gallant and recounting what Tattletale said, she threatened to talk about stuff worse than what I just told you, I guess. Threatened to tell me things I just don't want to know. She said she'd use what she knew to ruin my relationship with Victoria and the rest of my family. My sister's all I've got. The only person with no expectations, who knows me as a person. Carol never really wanted me. Mark is clinically depressed, so as nice as he is, he's too focused on himself to really be a dad. My aunt and uncle are sweet, but they've got their own problems. So it's just me and Victoria. Has been almost from the beginning. That smug little monster threatened to tear my sister and I apart using yet another thing I didn't want. Another thing I had no control over.
Yeah. Something she didn't want and has no control over. Yeah, it does seem like these are not feelings she wants to have.
And there's a part I didn't read, but like in the bank job, I think, there's some like description of how Amy is just like looking adoringly at Victoria when she's like coming to her rescue in the bank job. Even just from this chapter, it had always been Victoria, only Victoria, who made her feel like she had a family here, right? I feel like rereading that, you can just really tell that she's in love with her.
I don't know if I get that from that passage. Like, that's more about... It's always been
Victoria, only Victoria.
Well, yes. I mean, some of that speaks more to her deprivation in her family life than to her relationship with Victoria. But she does cite that, like, at the end when she's talking about, she's kind of not trying to justify herself to Victoria, but she's trying to maybe explain, give some context to her feelings. She's like, I didn't have anyone but you.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Like, I feel like, sibling incest is something that, like, pops up in fandom a lot. Like, I've read my share of, like, Wincest or whatever for, like, the Supernatural Brothers. But, like, it's hard for me to take it seriously in a dramatic fashion. I feel like just because, like, it does feel like there's a part of me that's just like, no, but she wouldn't feel like that. Like it's hard to fight that voice that's like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, we do, like, they're not related biologically, but they were raised together from, I think, a very young age. Like, Amy's trying to remember the house that she lived in with her father, and she's like, is that a faint memory?
Yeah.
Am I making that up? Like, I think she says she was like a toddler when it happened. And, I mean, when they've done research on kids who are raised together, I think it's like 5 or, like, if you're raised together before, like, 5 or 6, then there are, like, vastly diminished, like, marriages, like, in kids who were raised in, like, communities where all the kids were raised together. I think it was, I want to say it was in, like, kibbutzes or something that they studied this. Anyway, the Westermark effect is what it's called, that, like, you don't tend to feel attraction to people who you were raised with from such a young age. So this is, like, very improbable.
I should clarify.
Yeah.
Wildbow is aware. Canonically, Amy was like 6-ish.
Oh.
We get a little bit of the math, right? Amy is like 16. Victoria says for like a decade. Mm-hmm. So I think you're right about the word toddler, but I think that that's just like an over-inclusive use of the word toddler.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember if Marquis said it or if it comes up again later, but I'm pretty sure we get confirmed it's like the 5 to 7 range.
Oh,
you know, depending on whether Amy's 15 to 17
that actually does make
now.
it a lot more probable.
Right. So it's, I mean, you delivered the exposition. I was prepared to bring out the receipts and explain it. But yeah, so I am not surprised that you had that reaction. Right. But there are receipts once you do the timeline. Even if you are a close reader the first time through, you're going to get to this point in the story and be like, oh yeah, they've been raised together since they were in diapers.
Yeah.
And so this is improbable.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, the timeline does match with more of the tragedy of they were 6 and 7 and old enough that it's like, it is a little bit more... It is more
plausible. Yeah, that's about the cusp of like how old you have to be. Yeah.
So, given
okay, I guess I buy that then.
Yeah, but I mean, it's what you bring to reading the chapter, right?
Yeah,
it's like if we'd had a little flashback of like, you know, a 7-year-old Amy arriving to an 8-year-old Victoria, we'd be a little more prepared to swallow this.
Yeah, it had not occurred to me, but it is really tragic, like having almost intrusive feelings for someone who is your only family who seems to care about you.
Yeah.
Like the way that Carol treats Amy in this chapter is horrifying.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's nothing...
An accusing glare, a chill, right? This sort of like, she's kind of giving her the silent treatment. Like she's stonewalling her.
Yeah,
like being
just the
really...
cold shoulder a little. Yeah, she's like talking to her, but only in informational ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and we don't get a ton of context about, like, it's clear that the Amy-Carol relationship has soured a lot since Mark's injury.
Yes.
But
I mean, Carol's under a lot of pressure.
I do get the impression that what she was saying to Gallant, like, I get the impression that it's never been a warm, close relationship.
No, it sounds like it's never been good.
But yeah, this is a particularly bad situation.
She just didn't want to take Amy in because she knew she and Victoria would fall in love.
Well, reading that passage where Amy is like, oh yeah, you know, it's tough to keep secrets in this family. Amy learned that she was unwanted.
Yeah.
That Carol got kind of strong-armed into adopting her because Aunt Sarah was like, I already have 2 kids and you have a job. So
okay, but if she has a job, then how does she have time to raise another kid?
She's got money. She's got the money.
But can't Aunt Sarah raise the kid and Carol give her some money?
Yeah, but it's, you know, Amy takes away, when she'd taken Amy in, it hadn't been out of love or caring, but grudging obligation and a sense of duty. So, like, I am not defending Carol, but I do think there's a lot we don't know here. This is hearsay, right? A sarcastic joke that you don't think your kid will hear is risky,
can be really
sad,
damaging.
tragic, damaging, but more understanding than if Carol is like, this is actually, you know, how she feels, and she has let that resentment overpower her duty to be a loving parent to her adopted daughter. And it seems like
she has, like, even regardless of what was said or exactly what's true about her decision in the past, like, Amy does not feel loved by her.
Exactly. And it is so, again, gonna go for the word tragic. I feel like I'm gonna be saying that a lot in this episode, but like, that Amy's burden is equivalent to that of like the parent who never wanted a kid, in that she is I'm only saving people out of my own grudging obligation and sense of duty. I'm not saving people because I like it. And that is her burden to bear, right? And in that way, she is like Carol, or like how she perceives Carol to be. Though I guess Amy has no, like, empty nest to look forward to, right? Because her power is going to be with her as long as she's alive.
As far as we know.
Well, that's a whole different can of worms, right?
It's not lore time yet. Yeah. It's sibling incest time.
Yeah. But I mean, Amy is so desperate for unconditional love. Mm-hmm. Never felt that from Carol.
Yeah. I'm not convinced that that's, like, the reason she feels what she does for Victoria, because I feel like she already had that unconditional relationship with Victoria. Like, it feels almost like it's a tragic thing that struck her relationship with Victoria.
Yeah, definitely.
The fact that she is attracted to women, that she's attracted to Victoria, like that.
Yeah.
Like, what a calamity for her.
Yeah. And, like, I feel like I can really identify with the idea of having feelings for someone you shouldn't, or having feelings for someone that could jeopardize your relation. You know, if you fall for your best friend platonically, you know, or
a thing I have done.
yeah, and just sort of the idea of like, oh, I'm just going to go away and never talk to you again because I don't want to face, I mean, like, circling back to the end, right? Forget the violation that is Amy's power. Forget the sibling part of it. These are two huge things I'm pushing away here. But what I read on to that final confrontation is a confession of unreciprocated love being met with revulsion and disgust, and a real kind of like, ugh, like, you know, like, I would imagine the fear of seeing that look of revulsion on people's face is what would keep you from confessing feelings and also keep you in the closet.
Yeah.
Right? So, you know, putting the incest back on the table and putting what Amy's power can do back on the table, right? Like, the analogy breaks down, but the feelings of it and the awfulness of the situation that Amy's in at the end of the chapter, you know, are very relatable in that sense.
I mean, I've had feelings like that destroy friendships.
Yeah.
Before we got together, when I realized I had feelings for you, I was like, oh no, this is going to ruin every single activity I made. You were in like every part of my life. I was like, oh, this is going to ruin everything. Yeah. And fortunately, that's not how it went. But like, I've had that kind of thing happen before.
Yeah. And you know what we did? We talked about it. A huge thing, probably easier for us to do at our ages than had we been 17.
Also, just in case the listeners aren't aware, Ted and I, not siblings. Huge advantage that we had going into the situation. The fact that we are not related. Yeah. So, also, you know what I didn't do? Reach into your brain and make you reciprocate my feelings.
Yeah. Yeah, what a fucked up thing to do.
So, I feel like, on the face of it, like, looking at this, I'm like, wait, she can never heal anyone's brain because she knows if she does, she's going to make Victoria fall in love with her. Like, what an absolute nonsense thing to think. But, like, it has to be, like, she has to have fantasized about this.
Exactly.
Like, she must have, like, been lying there being like, if only there were a way for this to be reciprocated. And, like, she has to have imagined so clearly the way that she would change Victoria's feelings.
She knows on some level that she could do it.
Yeah.
Right.
And she has to specifically have, like, in order to do it like that almost unconsciously, like, not unconsciously, but, like, it has to have been something she's thought about a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she really seems to have thought it's inevitable that she will do that if she does anything with anyone's brain ever.
Yeah.
It makes me think of things we've said about Coil's power, about Regent and Cherish, that, like...
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Heartbreaker kids.
Their powers let them have things that, like, every person is going to want. It's going to be so hard to resist, and that are going to be so bad for you.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to hurt your ability to connect with people, to live in the world without anxiety, in Coil's case. And Amy has that kind of power where she can change anyone's brain and change how they think about her, change anything about them into what she wants it to be.
Yeah, forget healing, right?
Yeah, she can do anything to anyone's brain. And, like, she can't even take that first step because she can see the road that, like, Regent and Cherish were born halfway down. She can see the road that Coil has walked. I mean, she doesn't know them, but, you know, she can see what this road is.
Yeah, she has some true sense of the amount of power that she could wield. And an instinct, like she says in this chapter, that she is weak.
Yeah.
And that the power will corrupt her.
Yeah. The thing that I'm not quite sure I buy from her is this idea that, like, she can't heal anyone's brain. Healing someone's brain is so different from changing someone's brain to be something that you want it to be. Like, undoing damage and making someone feel a different way than they do, those feel like really fundamentally different things to me. Like, I feel like healing someone's brain should just be more similar to, like, healing their body parts.
That's a really good point, but I want to bring up how she describes what she did to Mark. Right?
Okay,
because in her head, it's very black and white. Body's fine, brain's no. And you were just bringing up this idea, it was like, oh, but like healing, right, is different and less of a violation than like the type of thing that she's doing in brains. So this is what she says about Mark. She'd healed everything but his brain, had altered his digestive system, and linked it to his circadian rhythms. So he went to the bathroom on a strict schedule to reduce the need for diapers. Other tune-ups she'd given him had been aimed at making him more comfortable, reducing stiffness and aches and pains. It was the least she could do. Reading that, like, your body is just as much a part of you, and like, she is not limiting herself to some idea of like, oh, I know the true state of Mark's body, and my line is I will restore him to that. She has no problem going into the body and, for lack of a better word, tinkering and being like, this would be a little better, this would be a little better. And so to me, that's so arbitrary. Why not sort of, I don't know, like, if she were Sophia, or right, like, why not make somebody an incredible runner? Just like give somebody the legs and like muscles and stuff to make them super fat. You know, like, it's sort of like she doesn't seem to have in her head any kind of limit to true healing the way that you're setting it up for
she
when it comes to the body. She hasn't drawn a line
there between healing and changing. She's drawn a line between body and brain.
And then when we talk about restoring Mark's brain, you sort of mentioned it in the summary, but like she's kind of like, well, I can kind of see where the damage is and I can infer from the network what it is. But it isn't actually like her power is accessing the record of what Mark's brain was and restoring it.
Right, she's guessing.
She's guessing and building something.
Yeah.
Right? So in a really true sense, what she is doing has never been healing. She is just doing her best approximation of like what the thing should be. It's not kind of like restoring something. It's like, oh, I'm going to, create the skin that got, scraped off. I'm going to create the arm that got chopped off. And her power is so good that nobody sort of like would notice the difference.
I wonder if she could have created Armsmaster's arm.
Yeah, who knows? But it's like a Ship of Theseus thing, right? Like she's just creating new stuff. The way that we are always, shedding cells and moving through the world, right? Like there is no true state of what your body is at any given time. Like she talks about all the little microorganisms crawling all over her and stuff, right? Like,
right. And if she saw that your face was super injured and she restored it, she would make it look like a face and like, quote unquote, like normal face. Like, but it wouldn't necessarily look like what your face used to look like.
Right. Yeah. If she didn't have a point of reference or,
if she didn't know. Yeah. Maybe her power is good enough that she can sort of tell from the damage what used to be there.
Yeah.
But
so to me, in some sense, what she has done with her rule is like figured out a way to refuse the call, right? Because her line is, I heal people's bodies.
Yeah.
Not, I can do whatever I want to biology.
Right.
And it's kind of what Bonesaw is getting at with like, hey, why don't you go out in costume? Right? And like, I'm pretty sure Panacea is the only person we have seen doing the thing that we think everybody should do, which is use your power for like a civilian purpose.
Oh, yes. Right? That's a great point.
Right? Like she's the only one and she's miserable, right? Like it's awful for her, right?
Yeah. Great point. And she is, of course, the coward. I think that's definitive in this chapter.
100%. Yeah.
Unclear who the Crusader was, but...
And so, and part of it is, of course, motivated by this very personal, like, I know I'm going to live out this fantasy with Victoria, as ill-advised as that is. But I think that is all wrapped up in this refusal to grapple with the great power that she has at her disposal writ large.
I think she knows this. I think she is hiding behind the rule, though, in a way that, like Like, she's using the rule to say, like, I can never do anything to anyone's brain, therefore I am safe from ever doing these things that I know will be morally horrible, will make me miserable, will make other people miserable, will be unforgivably awful.
Yeah.
But I think there's also part of it for her that's, therefore, if I break that rule, I'm allowed to do the other things. Like, I think that's why she does the thing at the end, because it's not because, oh, she's just been in someone's brain, therefore she can't help it. I think that's just a story she's been telling herself and an excuse that she is finding for doing the thing that she wants at the end.
Yeah. I agree with you. I want to read some of that, what she's thinking.
It's almost a throwing in the towel feeling. It's like that thing where, like, you're like, well, I'm on a diet, but I had something bad for breakfast, so I can eat whatever I want the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And I always feel bad using diet analogies because I don't actually think diets like that are a good thing, but I do feel like that's a very relatable mindset. Now she's like, well, I've done the things, so there's nothing stopping me, and like I couldn't possibly be expected to stop myself.
Yeah.
And she's almost abnegating moral responsibility for it.
Yeah. What she says is, all it took was one moment of weakness, and she was weak. At the end of her rope, desperately lonely, haunted by her father's shadow, her shame at being unwilling and unable to help Mark until now. The idea that one of the Slaughterhouse Nine thought she belonged with them? She was losing everything so quickly. Victoria was all she had, and it was the choice between abandoning that for everyone's good and keeping Victoria close. She felt Victoria's body more acutely than she felt her own, every heartbeat, every cell brimming with life. Like a flame at the end of a long fuse, leading to a stick of dynamite, her power traveled from the side of Victoria's neck to her brain. It was barely a conscious action on Amy's part. And
barely.
Right.
Her power travels.
Yeah, right. The passive voice, right? And like reading it, it's like, I feel like the first time I read this, I was a little bit more, oh my God, what a tough situation. I mean, she is at the end of her rope. She is lonely.
Yeah.
Like, and a little bit of that, like, oh, it was barely conscious, right? There's a lot to that. I think that you are right. It's like, this is her finally giving in to an excuse.
Yeah.
The thing that jumped out to me this time is, I feel like this is what it's like in Burn Scar's head a little bit. The way that she was saying, like, oh, my power, it just makes it too hard for me to resist setting people on fire. Oops.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like a little bit of that, you know, rationalization. And again, with Burn Scar, it's like, oh yeah, it sucks that like literally that is what your power does to you. But, you know, what is it saying about you? And, you know, like, and Elle is right there. Somebody who is, you know, doing better. And yeah, this idea, like, she's sort of like, well, I could keep doing the thing that everybody asks of me. Like, throw away my family for the greater good. Mm-hmm. Or I could just use my incredible power to keep Victoria close to me, right?
Couldn't she instead stay with her family and continue not altering Victoria's brain?
Yeah. But it really does matter to me how much Amy is lying to herself here. It feels a lot like excuses, right? That this is...
When the text says she was weak, that feels like it's her thinking that to herself.
Exactly.
It's like, well, I am weak, so I have to do this.
Exactly.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like you want to believe, well, I'm too weak to resist, so I don't have to resist.
Yeah. And like, I feel like if her power were more like Canary's, where it was something like, she's like, I felt my power brimming and I touched Victoria and I said, love me, or I felt love me, or I wish you would love me.
It would be more obviously deliberate in action.
No, that would be almost more, it's almost like it could happen unconsciously, right? Like your emotion. You can
say love me?
No, but like you're this like, you're thinking to yourself like, oh, I know I want this, but I shouldn't do anything. And then it like, you know, there's like, just in a moment, it transfers. But the metaphor here is like, I'm lighting a stick of dynamite, right? It's barely conscious. You know, it feels a lot more intentional. I feel like I've lost you with
I didn't agree with that at all. I feel like having to say to someone, love me, and imbuing it with power, like, is much more obviously intentional than, like, letting go of your power and letting it loose.
Yeah, let me try and rephrase that. Because the Canary situation was she says, go fuck yourself. And she's, like, not aware that her power is in effect.
No, that's true.
Right?
That's
like,
true.
So I feel like if Amy's power worked more like, you know, if anyone touches me, all of my wishes come true. And Victoria touched me. And so, like, you know, it really is more. And because that's also an intentional thing of the scene is, like, not to excuse anything that Amy does, but it's immediately prefaced with Amy being like, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Bad stuff is going to happen. I'm not telling you, but don't touch me. And Victoria crosses that boundary and gives her a big hug.
That's
right?
true.
Like violating her bodily autonomy in a very, 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 very tiny, not as much of a big deal way before Amy does what she does.
Right.
But yeah, so like it's so hard for me to believe, especially knowing how hard people work for their powers in this universe.
Yeah.
Right. That it's like the sort of, oh, you touched me, so all my wishes accidentally came true. Oops.
But it really varies.
Versus the thing of like, she's fantasized about this and she did have perhaps one moment to execute on the plan. Yeah. But like barely conscious. I'm interested in the involuntary action version of this, but I can't bring myself to believe it.
I don't think the text is even saying it's involuntary. Yeah. It's saying it's barely voluntary, I would say. Yeah. I mean, I will say, just in a bit of a counterpoint, we've seen people who have to work really hard for their powers. Dinah has a component of that. Tattletale, Labyrinth. But, like, Taylor doesn't. She has to work not to use her power. And I think Amy's is probably a lot more like that, where she has to work to keep that barrier, and that's why she has kept that barrier between herself and Brains, because otherwise it's just...
Oh, that's such a good point.
Almost automatic,
That's
but
such
not.
a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, then it is so much more, again, like, cherishes power, regents power. It's funny that you bring up Taylor, right?
Hey, I remember Taylor.
If Taylor's power was just that she could make people agree with everything she said, you really think she's not using that all the time, right? Like, she's constantly frustrated by, like, people not...
But that is the kind of thing where if she recognized the path, the way Amy's like, oh, there's the road, I see hell in the distance, like... She would never take that first step down it, just like Amy has.
Yeah, but, like, I guess what I'm saying is the temptation Taylor is refusing is I'm not going to cover Emma with ants.
Yeah.
It's not I'm going to make Emma do whatever I want to do all the time, right? Like, that's just such a different thing, you know?
Yeah, it's really unfair that Amy has this level of temptation. Like, you're right, Taylor's only temptation is like, how will I or won't I use bugs? Like,
yeah.
Amy's is much, much more alluring.
Yeah. It does make me think, though, of the institutional failure that leads to this moment, right? To some extent, maybe Amy has done a good job of keeping the extent of her powers from other people. But I think the fact that she's in, like, New Wave and not, like, part of the system has actually not worked out to her benefit because she's isolated in this family environment that is not good for her.
Yeah.
And Victoria is very powerful, but she's nowhere near this, you know, the level that Amy is at. Like, I'm not sure what other capes I would compare Amy to, but I feel like with someone like Amy, right, it's like...
I mean, some of the Slaughterhouse
needs,
9. Yeah.
And I think this was not the best suggestion in the moment from Victoria, but Amy needs a therapist to help her with, like, okay, so... You are a person who, once people know what you can do, they're not going to want you to be able to touch them because of how afraid of you, you know, they will be very reasonably. And you are going to have to deal with, like, the power that you have. And, like, let's work that, you know, like, let's create a system that will help, you know, deal with this problem, nip it in the bud. So, like, the fact that nobody but Bonesaw has figured out Amy's deal and is like, hey, this could be a problem.
Yeah.
Like, can
Bonesaw loves that it could be a problem, but someone else should have realized. Yeah. That's a really good point. I guess Tattletale figured out her deal. But
yes. But I don't know that Tattletale... I would be shocked if Tattletale got as deep as
Right. She doesn't have the emotional understanding.
The first thing that Amy's going to do when the secret comes out is make you fall in love with her.
I bet there's also an element of Victoria was the one who wanted her to start using her power on brains. Victoria's been cold to her for weeks because Amy hasn't been doing it.
Yeah.
Amy has been holding off for everyone's good, including Victoria's, and now she's finally given in and done the thing that Victoria really wanted her to do, and now Victoria can live with the consequences.
Yeah.
I bet there is that.
Yeah.
Very unconsciously, subtly going through it for her.
Yeah.
I remember I was saying in the Bitch interlude, if Bitch does join the Slaughterhouse 9, it won't be because of what anyone else did to her, it will be because of what she did to Taylor. If Amy joins the Slaughterhouse 9, which I don't really think she's about to do, but it would be because of what she did to Victoria.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to escape into heroism when you feel that kind of guilt.
Yeah. I mean, the way they leave things is pretty rough.
Yeah, but Victoria's in love with her now. Amy's line, you're underestimating what I did to you. Holy, what a line. What is coming for Victoria?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But the Victoria getting on her high horse and throwing all of that back in Amy's face is just it's really doubling down on all of Amy's fears and neuroses.
I mean, Victoria dealt with it very badly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
And also very irrationally, understandably, but very irrationally.
Well, no, say more about that, because I was going to ask you, what's the case for trusting Amy or not trusting Amy here? Because I'm not sure it's totally irrational.
Well, Amy already did the thing.
Yeah.
So, is she really going to make it worse? What's the scenario in which Amy does the thing, is horribly sorry, is begging to be allowed to fix it, and instead makes it worse?
What do you think Amy does?
I mean, I think she reverses it.
Yeah.
If she doesn't reverse it, Victoria won't be any worse off than she is now.
And then how does Amy feel about that situation?
I mean, it's possible that Amy reverses it and then tries to wipe the memory.
I think that is the rational case for not trusting Amy.
Yeah. But you know what? I feel like if my little sister came to me, accidentally altered my brain chemistry so that I was in love with her, and then was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Please just let me fix it. And I was like, okay, well, she's going to fix it and she'll wipe my memory of this. I would be okay with that. I'm sort of joking. I do understand why you just wouldn't want to put yourself in someone's hands after they've done that to you. But you only know they did that to you because they told you. And
well, she knows. No, Victoria steps
she
away.
Did know
She's
that
like,
something
what did
happened.
you do?
Yeah,
what did you
she
do?
did know
Something
that.
changed.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I do want to say the scene is also beautifully constructed to trigger Victoria in a literal setting way, because Victoria's power makes her invulnerable.
Yeah.
She is all about the image that she presents to people, and she doesn't let people get close.
Yeah.
And when Victoria's shield is up, Amy wouldn't be able to do anything to her, right? So the fact that she does love and 100% trust Amy until Amy violates her. And so the fact that she's I'm letting you in, come, I'm going to hug you. I'm going to be vulnerable with you. I'm here for you. And then with just a little touch to her skin does this, incredibly consequential thing, right? That is going to be pushing Victoria's buttons in whatever way, whatever makes her feel like she needs this kind of invulnerability shield, right? I feel like it's going to be the same.
I get that. And I do think, reading the scene, it would be hard to imagine, particularly Victoria, the person that we've seen her be, react any differently. But I also just feel like she's touched Amy a million times in their lives. Amy has never done this before.
Yeah.
It's not like the first chance Amy got, she altered her brain chemistry. It's Amy had a moment of weakness and she's begging for the chance to undo it.
Yeah.
I feel like she should trust her to do that.
Yeah.
I really do think it's it can't make it any worse. I mean, it could, but it's extremely unlikely to make it any worse. And it is very likely to avert something horrible for Victoria that she really doesn't want. And I think part of it is that she is underestimating what Amy does. She doesn't understand Amy's power. She also thinks that she is invulnerable. Like, she thinks she can control her thoughts. It seems like she's never had this type of intrusive feeling. She's never had to deal with this kind of thing where she can't control her own self in a way that she wants to.
Yeah, yeah.
She's 17 and has super strength and a shield.
And it's rich hearing Victoria lecture Amy about self-control. Right? I don't think she realizes in the moment.
Victoria is not someone who has self-control, so what is she even saying?
Yeah, exactly. But I think I really do read Victoria in this moment. Like, I want to be slightly more charitable to her in the same way that, like, Danny locking Taylor in the house was just, like, so re-triggering to her that it was kind of never going to work out. I feel like the way that Victoria got violated by a touch...
Asking for another touch is a lot.
Right, is exactly the kind of thing that is going to... Right, like, I understand the rational argument, but I also totally understand the visceral. Yeah. Like, I let you... Like, you could do this to me with a touch, and now, nope, never again.
Well, yeah, I mean, she just was violated, and of course she doesn't want to let that happen again immediately. Yeah. Like, that you have to be so vulnerable to voluntarily open your mind to someone like that.
The other thing that I was thinking about a lot on the reread was the bus kiss. Because my interpretation of Gru's reaction to the bus kiss is so much more about the way he realizes he was being manipulated versus his feelings for Taylor. Yeah. And I think Amy's reading a lot of rejection into Victoria's feeling of, like, disgust. You know, she's pulling away. And then all the stuff that she says to her later about, like, you're worse than your father ever was, right? But I don't necessarily know that Victoria is more disgusted by Amy's feelings than Amy's actions.
Oh, yeah, no, I assume it's the actions.
Right, but I think Amy is feeling vulnerable about, like...
the feelings as well.
The feelings part.
Yes and no. I mean, I think it's both, but she's been so horrified of taking this action for so long that I don't think she's underrating how serious the action is.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just circling back to Victoria saying, like, maybe I'll have some control over myself and remember that you're my sister. Sort of this idea that, like, maybe I'll just choose not to feel this. Like, it is just so wanting to assert her own control over herself in a situation where she just lost it, where someone else just 100%. Wrested that from her.
100%.
And, I mean, grossly misjudging her ability to do that.
Yeah, and that's Elle talking to Mimi also, right? The sort of, like, I've been working so hard, and I just don't think you're trying, right? It's like a little bit of that, like if it's
you just
true,
haven't been trying not to be in love with me, poor tortured soul, who's wrestling it with it day and night.
Exactly.
Yeah, have you tried not being gay?
Yeah, no, exactly, right? Yeah, and it's all right. It's there's a lot to it.
Yeah. It is interesting. This is our, I believe, second canonical queer character, and both of them have been women. Mm-hmm. And we have the sort of relatively innocent, like, I want a connection to another girl, and like, aw, she makes stuffed animals. Like, sort of like, I'm gonna bring her supplies. We have this sort of happy thing going on, and who knows if it's even a romance, but like, there's something there. And then, like, I bet that is in the story, like, because Wild Bo didn't want this to be the only queer woman.
Yes. Yes.
Because, like, I don't think we have any.
What if the only
guys?
lesbian viewed it as a curse?
Well, what if the only lesbian was in love with her sister, miserable about it, and, like, mind raped her sister about it to get her to return her feelings? Yeah. Like, that would be pretty awful representation. And, like, you can have awful representation, but I just suspect that Wild Bo was a little bit aware that, like, this is the direction he's going in. Maybe I'll put Lily in the story, too. Yeah.
It will not shock you to learn that this element of the story looms large over the fandom.
I'm
more
not surprised.
so than narrative white might dictate.
Yes. I am not at all surprised.
Yeah.
Someday I'll read the fic.
It's a really big swing. It's a really big, bold swing.
Yes. Like I said, did not see it coming.
I never acted on any of my feelings until just now, and all I want to do is take that back. Like, acting on your feelings, that's what you say about, like, I tried to kiss you, right? Like, this is like a whole, you know, the conflation of her feelings about Victoria and what her power lets her do to Victoria really feels like is doing a lot of work to help Amy feel so put upon in this moment. Mm-hmm. She does not see the responsibility that comes with her power separate from this sort of burden of having this desire that she feels conflicted about.
Well, I think she probably had a limitation for herself, like her one where she never works on brains, where she never does anything about the feelings for Victoria, in part because she thought that Victoria would be horrified and would reject her, but I think also because if she never makes any step in that direction, then she's not going to make this kind of most horrifying step.
Yeah. The writing is very good, right? Building up to this moment, Amy's voice is hollow as she says, I'm the daughter of a supervillain. Uh-huh. And then Victoria's voice is firm when she says, you're Carolyn Mark's daughter. Come home.
Yeah.
Right? It's heartbreaking.
The thing where she's the daughter of the supervillain is another way for her to excuse it to herself also, isn't it? She can say, like, well, I'm Marquis's daughter. What do they expect? Like, what could anyone expect from me? Like, this is inevitable. Therefore, I'm allowed to do it. Therefore, you know, I don't have any choice. I guess I have to do it. Like,
yeah. And I mean, you, without knowing her feelings, you kind of saw that coming based on her burden and kind of, you have talked about the escape that a heel turn would bring for Amy before.
She wants that. She wants to be evil so that she can alter Victoria's mind and not have to heal people anymore.
But yeah, and she also compares herself to Marquis in the sense of like, oh, well, he's an orderly villain, and I also have rules, and Carol sees me and my rules as being, you know, like sinister, and, you know, like, and, oh, I'm callous, you know, like my father was. But I don't know that follows to me, because power without rules is like Sophia or even Victoria, right? And like, Victoria's problem is not that she is like getting off on being bad and, you know, like getting away with something. It's like she's self-righteous and like goes too far and is like thoughtless, you know, with her power and stuff. But that's very different from grappling with, you know, wanting to do something. Mm-hmm. I mean, and again, it goes back to like, what is the nature of your power, right? But like, if you are an Amy, a Sherry, a Jean-Paul, or a whatever Canary's name was, I've forgotten. Grappling with the fact that you can do this inhuman thing to people. It's like, you know.
Actually, you know, it's kind of amazing that Canary didn't go down that path at all.
Yeah.
But I do feel like Amy is wrong about the analogy. Like, Marquis's thing was that, like, he did a lot of evil things, but he had some rules about where to stop. If Amy is paralleling that to herself, I mean, she only does good things, and she has rules about where to stop. But she thinks that all of the evil feelings she has count as evil.
Right. Yeah, and everybody has quote unquote evil feelings, right? Like that's just part of the human experience.
She needs a therapist so bad.
Exactly. So it's like yeah, it's all very much like a 17-year-old who needs to go to therapy and like you know, and it's so clear she's like on the brink of tears throughout the first part of the chapter. She goes through this whole other thing, right? Like, as much as she consciously violates Victoria at the end, it is also true that it's in the context of like having literally the worst night of her life and possibly one of the worst nights anyone has had.
Yes.
I was also thinking about this whole like, you know, oh, I'm bad. That gives me an excuse to do the bad things I want to do, right? Like, I feel like it's also very classic teenager stuff in a way. I feel like concluding that you inherited an evil personality from your parents and like that nobody would understand high achiever burnout, you know, at your hospital job. Like, those are very understandable things for like a 17-year-old to be grappling with in a way that I feel like, again, kind of we've been saying, it's just like if she had a little bit more space to explore, like sometimes I just want to do this thing that is awful. And for somebody to be like, that's okay. Did you do it? No. Okay. You're right. Like you still have a chance. It's a lot harder to come back. We'll see where it all goes. But like giving somebody space to acknowledge and deal with their bad impulses is something that I think everybody needs. And I also think like, she says it was all so fucked up. She was so fucked up. It's like, I don't know, believing that everybody, including me, is a little fucked up is actually kind of helpful. It's sort of like the only way out is through, right? Like acknowledge that you're a little bit fucked up and it's like, okay, how are you going to deal with it? And I was reflecting that like a lot of, there's like, even if you're not a high achiever, like people don't necessarily like their jobs, right? Like they're like people deal with stuff, right? Like we're parents, we struggle with like the responsibility of being parents, even though we're not as shitty as Carol is, right? There's like a lot of like, just like, okay, you deal with how things are a little crappy. And I was thinking about how the Slaughterhouse 9, one of the things that seems to be a through line with them is the way that they seem to be craving novelty, but have zero empathy for what that novelty is doing to other people. Like Jack Slash just like wanting to make people tick, and Burn Scar not being able to pull herself back from her worst impulses. And cherishes
music going on all the time.
Her whole
head.
deal, right? So I sort of see the fact that she doesn't have empathy for the people that she's healing does sort of connect her to the Slaughterhouse 9 in that way.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about her burnout before, how she's healing people and it's really fast. So she doesn't have a chance to connect to them. She doesn't really get the reward of like watching them get something back. And of course she feels like she should, right? Like it's such an emotional experience for them, but like they've just landed in her lap and she's done 15 of them in the last hour. Like it's too much emotion for her to feel with like too little investment.
Right.
And it also, like I was thinking, like, is there a way for her to detach from the emotion and find it like an interesting challenge? And the thing is, it's probably not a challenge. And this is where it does connect a little to the Slaughterhouse 9 and their, craving variety, craving interest. You see Bonesaw here. I mean, there's so many influences that go into Amy's decision, Amy's action at the end of this chapter. She's just found out she has a supervillain father, which allows her to put on the cloak of like, well, I was fated. I couldn't help it. This is just who I was born as. And she's just had the example of Bonesaw, who's like, no, I just want to perfect my craft. If I obeyed the rules, I would never get to make anything really amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, she's pushing Amy over all these lines, but she's also offering an example of like, oh, this can just be fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I guess I don't mean to even suggest that like Amy is the right fit. But I think the reason Bonesaw offering that is part of something that should appeal to Amy, right? If what she's doing, this chore, is boring, right? Is there not some pro-social way to make her powers be like interesting and rewarding to use instead of just like being a heal bot or something?
But
right?
I was thinking like, I bet working with brains would be more interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, or you have a chance to, provide people with weird body mods that they want, right? Like, give somebody wings or something, right? Like
that would be so cool.
Right, like what can you use? But
how do you justify that when there are people dying every second?
Yeah.
And that's the tough part for her.
I think the real opportunity Bonesaw offers here, right, is I think I would diagnose Amy with a fixed mindset. She's so worried about how she is bad and trying to deny that she is bad. She has forgotten that she can, if she's bad, try to be better. Bonesaw is offering a growth mindset.
That's interesting. Yeah, because Amy does seem to think if I ever do anything with brains, it is inevitable that I will alter Victoria's brain so that she loves me back. And she does seem to have accepted that as true. And so then she does.
Yeah.
And like, you know, she says, I'll lose my family either way when it comes to fixing Mark's head.
Yeah.
Also, incidentally, kind of weird that her real dad is named Marquis and her adopted dad is named Mark. Like, it's just a little weird. But anyway.
Honestly, it never occurred to me. That's so funny.
They're spelled differently. Anyway, she thinks I'll lose my family either way because either they'll be so mad at her for not fixing Mark that they'll shut her out, or she'll fix Mark and then inevitably she will do this to Victoria. You're right. She has accepted this as what she will do if she ever takes that first step.
Yeah.
Which, again, I think is because she really, really wants to do it.
Yeah.
And there's something alluring to her about like, but then I would have to do it.
Yeah. There's something, I was thinking about this brain-body distinction a little bit more, where Amy's kind of drawing an arbitrary line in the sand.
Yeah.
And I'm actually wondering if there's something even more threatening with her power to her ego, which is if she touches you and feels all of your biology and stuff, how different is that from the feelings that she has about her own body? And like how much of a blurring of identity are you dealing with in terms of like, oh, well, I can make all of the people around me into whatever I want. How real and separate are people from you if you have that level of control? I feel like there's something kind of existentially scary about thinking about being able to wield people in that way.
I don't see it. I mean, I do think there's something scary for her in terms of like, oh, I could shape the world to my wishes, but I don't think she'd be making the world herself because, among other things, she can't do that to herself.
That's a great point.
She can act on other people and not herself.
Do
you know how long ago she would have changed her own brain to not have these feelings for Victoria?
Yeah.
Like, she can't.
No, you're right.
Yeah, I think there is that really clear line for her. But there's the coil thing of like making the world dance on a string. She doesn't want to do that.
I guess one of the things I was thinking of too is like part of her wanting to do it has probably been, right, she, I'm sure, has healed Victoria before, right? So she has been very intimately connected to Victoria's body and been like actively tempted before and not done it, right?
Yeah.
So any kind of extended, oh, I got to heal all your broken ribs you got from kicking indoors.
Yeah.
She will have been spending that time fantasizing as well.
I think we might also be back at the like rules that make you safe thing also, because there is something where if you feel like if I ever messed with someone's brain, I will do this to Victoria, and you then never mess with anyone's brain, you can almost put it out of your mind.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, it cuts so many ways. Just like murder rat's feet.
Well, so we've talked a lot about the end of the slippery slope.
Yes.
But Bonesaw clearly engineers this whole sequence of events.
Yeah.
I don't think Bonesaw knows where it's going, but Bonesaw is like, oh, okay, you don't use your power to hurt people. I can make you do that. Oh, you don't like killing people. I can make you do that. But you don't think it works on brains. I can make you do that, right? Like, she very carefully engineers this, like, slippery slope. And Amy thinks to herself, I never would have crossed this line if Bonesaw hadn't kicked me over it. And I believe her.
Yeah. And she's sort of glad to have done it for Mark's sake. Like, she is really happy about that part. And
the other thing I was thinking about, right, she thinks it's so easy, right? It's like, oh, I just ended a life and it was so easy, right? Mm-hmm. I think the brain stuff is a little bit more involved. But again, it's just like it all comes so naturally to her.
Right.
And I think that's also part of what's horrifying about it, right? Like, you imagine, oh, I just took a life and it's after the end of this brutal struggle of like self-defense and, like I really just,
right, but she can just do it with a touch and a thought.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we see Bonesaw. Bonesaw says she's learning from Jack, who says she'll never be a real artist unless she can mess with people's brains, unless she can find their breaking point. This is what we saw in the interlude with him. and she's looking for Amy's breaking point. And she's looking for a way to break Amy such that she'll want to join the Slaughterhouse 9. I don't think that exists, or certainly not. It's certainly not something you can achieve in an evening with Amy. Like, I think it would be a much longer journey.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen this, like, multiple times. The Slaughterhouse 9 picks someone to recruit, and it's just, like, completely the wrong option.
Yeah.
Like, just barking up entirely the wrong tree. And yeah, Bonesaw does not understand Amy at all. And Amy says to her at one point, she's like, maybe the only way to really get inside my head is to understand that I would never join the Slaughterhouse 9. And I think that's true. Like, I think Bonesaw does push Amy over a bunch of lines, but, like, she's not pushing her in the direction that she wants her to go in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
She's pushing her in a direction that's, like, a trajectory Amy has been contemplating for a while.
Yeah.
But it's not her way, Bonesaw's way.
I do want to maybe argue that Amy is a little more gettable than some of the characters we've seen so far, because when Mannequin invites the comparison, Colin's like, fuck you, kill me. When Bonesaw is saying, well, Amy, you could just do this, you could just do that, Amy says, I don't think I have it in me to do stuff like that. And then she thinks to herself, if nothing else, I can't disappoint Victoria any further. Which, it could just be their personalities, the way this kind of thing comes out. But it's so different to me than the outright refusal. Like, the righteous, no, never. And she does say, I would never join the Slaughterhouse 9. But when it comes to the ways that her power might work, she says, I don't have it in me. Which is very different from the kind of never, ever, ever response we've seen some other people give.
I mean, Colin still enjoys his powers. Amy does not enjoy hers.
Yeah.
She really is very close to an edge. Bonesaw was fascinating to me, though. So she reminded me a lot of Cherish in the sort of moral emptiness. Like, just completely amoral. She's not excited about the badness of the things she's doing. She just doesn't want to be limited by rules. Why would she want to be? She couldn't make anything really cool. And she's fascinated by it all, like, as a puzzle.
Yeah.
She's completely lacking in compassion, empathy, in a way that, I mean, really does remind me of Cherish most of all. But she doesn't seem to even have a sense of what it would be like to have a conscience. No, really, though. Like, Amy is struggling so much with the things that she should do and the things she shouldn't, and, like, what if she's bad, and, like, all this. And Bonesaw just doesn't seem to have any of that at all.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm like, is this trauma-related for her? I'm not sure that it doesn't feel like that. Like, did she have an upbringing similar to what, like, Regent and Cherish went through? Or is this something her power did to her? And we've seen that to varying degrees. Did her power rob her of the ability to empathize with people?
That is fascinating. I wanted to read the moment when Bonesaw's like, I just don't know what to name this one. And Amy's like, you're describing a pagoda. And then Bonesaw's like, pagoda, yes. Bonesaw skipped over to her creation, wrapped her arms around one of his. Pagoda! That's your name now. None of the three monsters moved or reacted. Each stared dumbly forward, Murder Rat drooling, the others appearing to be in a daze. That's good, Bonesaw smiled at Amy. I knew we'd make a good team. So her chipper personality, in contrast to the complete impassivity and deadness of the things that she has created.
In which she's like, actively controlling, yeah.
Yeah, like there's this total emotional absence that she is meeting with whimsy and cheerfulness. And you're saying Amy is struggling with the guilt of conscience. Bonesaw is just happy. She's happy throughout the scene. Like, she's having the time of her life. And so, like, is what's broken that she doesn't need anything back from other people? Is it that she can't see that she's hugging a monster that she created? Right?
Yeah.
Like, is she having trouble seeing how uncomfortable Amy is as she keeps saying these things to her? You know, does she not care? It really is interesting how much malice there is versus indifference or amorality in Bonesaw's makeup.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be malice.
Her childlike visage also plays into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, she's just a little kid playing,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, which does seem like what she's like. And you kind of have to wonder if there is more below the surface. Also, like, is she actually only 11, 12? Amy said she looks like 5 years younger than Amy herself. Amy can't be more than 17, so
right.
She couldn't be more than 12.
Is she a brand new member of the Slaughterhouse 9?
It doesn't seem like it.
I mean,
it seems like she's been around for a while. Did she get her powers when she was 9?
Right.
Like, she is so famous, and, like, everyone knows about her. It doesn't seem like this arose in the last few months. Like, she must have been around for a couple of years at least.
Yeah. Yeah, so we either have an extraordinarily young Trigger or, you know, something going on here.
Right. Maybe she just seems young.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like one of those adults who plays Peter Pan.
Yeah, yeah.
She's secretly Madison. No, that doesn't make any sense. And in some ways she seems like a child, but she doesn't seem like a real child. Like, 11 or 12 is old enough to have empathy for other people, even if, you know, you maybe don't want to act on it at all times.
Yeah.
She seems like she doesn't even understand people's, like, moral reservations or whatever. And it's funny that, like, Jack is trying to train her to break people. Maybe she'll be able to come to an understanding of that stuff intellectually. It doesn't seem like she has any instinctive or, like, empathetic understanding of other people.
Yeah, that is interesting because she comes into this scenario with the perfect, right? Like, Pagoda is the perfect thing to get Amy to kill someone, right? Because there's no way for her to do the disabling tactic that she used on Murder Rat. So, like, there is some level of Bonesaw understands mechanically what is necessary to push Amy over these lines, and, like, the thing that she does to Mark, right? But yeah, maybe she's lacking some of the instincts about how Amy will respond, or, like,
well, I mean, Amy's real weaknesses aren't what she does with her powers. It's Victoria.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And Bonesaw doesn't seem to have any understanding of, like, oh, it could be about some other person in your life.
Yeah.
It seems like Bonesaw likes the Slaughterhouse 9, you know.
She's kind of above it, though.
Yeah, but she doesn't seem to actually connect with people. Yeah. And it does sort of make intuitive sense to me that her tinker powers, where she, like, takes people apart and observes them and puts them back together, like, require a level of abstraction from other humans that prevents her from making connections.
Yeah. On the other hand, the thing that I love about Bonesaw, she's a perfect little scientist. Right? Curiosity motivates her. She uses her experiments to get more raw materials to do more experiments. She's learned the most, according to her, I guess, she's learned the most about powers than anyone we've met so far.
Yeah.
And
who is it? Director Armstrong is going to be so jealous.
I know, right? Human experimentation is, of course, scientifically fruitful and morally forbidden. So it's great that she doesn't have any morals, so that she can cause people to have trigger events while monitoring their brains.
I mean, fascinating.
So she can learn what she claims to learn. I mean,
let's talk about what she learns.
Yeah. I just think that, like, I feel like her motto is move fast, break people. She just, like, fits in perfectly with the, like, oh, you know what? I'm just increasing our understanding, and
the more she breaks people, the more she can put them back together in these fun ways.
And, I mean, putting on my Bonesaw voice again, can you imagine it? You could use your power, and then we could make one super person out of 100 capes, and all of the powers would be full strength because you helped, and we could use it to stop one of the Endbringers, and the whole world would be like, are we supposed to clap? Can you picture it? Bonesaw was getting so excited with her idea that she was almost breathless.
I wanted to talk about that because, like, she's so excited about this idea. And, like, what is the source of her excitement here? It's definitely not, we could destroy an Endbringer and protect people. Like, absolutely not. That is not her motivation. It's not exactly like, we would show all those people. Like, that seems almost incidental. Like, she's kind of, she seems amused by that.
I think it's like, you want to be the person who cures cancer because it's hard, not because you're going to help people.
Not because you care about those people with cancer, but because this is the hardest problem. Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
And I think Bonesaw is right. Bonesaw is so powerful. Like, the stuff that she is doing is just incredibly powerful. But what she sees in Amy is that maybe not Amy is like strictly more powerful, but she sees the opportunity to go beyond what she can do herself in like a real way, right? Bonesaw isn't saying, I could tinker together an Endbringer stopping Voltron cape myself, but I don't know if I have the motivation. What she's saying is, this is something that I could only do with you. Mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. And so that is the whole impetus for...
Yeah, no, I think she's really excited about the idea of teaming up with Amy. Unfortunately, she doesn't understand Amy at all, but I mean, it's amazing that she manages to push Amy over all these lines. None of them are Amy's actual breaking point, but they do lead her to it eventually. But there is no path, and she can't tell that there's no path from where Amy is to siding with Bonesaw within the course of those, 20 minutes or whatever.
Right. Though the last we see of Bonesaw is her going, yay, it worked, before Mark jumps up and they get into a fight and Bonesaw runs away. So her last line of dialogue is a happy one. Yeah.
Well, she doesn't seem like someone who really does unhappiness. Maybe a little bit of pouting.
Speaking of Bonesaw's innocence, I love when Amy curses in front of her and Bonesaw gets offended. And I also love the juxtaposition with everyone in New Wave using the Protectorate-approved name Hellhound to talk about Rachel. It's such a funny parallel of oh yeah, Amy's gonna throw around a fucking shit because, she's so beleaguered by the crushing weight of what she has to do and what she knows she one day will do. And her family, the goody two-shoes heroes, won't say bitch. And the psycho murderer who creates these kludges of, human superpowers also is not about that.
Oh, man. I want to talk about what she learns about powers.
Yeah. I mean, Bonesaw's reliable, right? I think we can take this as official exposition, as if Wildbow himself was telling us.
I mean, I do expect that she, kind of knows what she's talking about in this. I don't think she has, the full picture.
Yeah, well, what stood out to you? Let's get into it.
Okay, so, first of all, I mean, yeah, she's definitely had this power for a while. If she's taken 20 or 30 people apart to figure out how their power works. She's induced stress on people until they had a trigger event. While they're on her table, wired to computers. Amazing. So, I don't know if she overstates it when she says, I know where her powers come from, I know how they work, because she doesn't actually tell us. Mm-hmm. So either she just doesn't want to share, or she's just exaggerating a little bit. The thing that's fascinating, she describes the powers almost as if they are beings. They almost feel like parasites. Mm. We had the arc named Parasite, which was about Regent taking over Sophia. But that's really the word that kept coming to mind when she was talking about this. She says, our powers weren't created to work with those things. Interesting word, created, because she goes on to talk about the powers as if they have agency. So she says, your power, my power, it works on people. There's that boy who works with computers, the fish lady in Asia. Weird that was her next go-to example. Maybe they just came from there. Who knows?
Well, Taylor and Bugs.
Taylor and Bugs it's one that came to mind for me. The powers were not created to work with those things. So it seems like when the power comes upon you, the way she's talking about it, it sounds like something external landing on you, which is sort of what we've seen in the trigger events. They decrypt our brains and search for something in the world that they can connect to that loosely correlates with how the powers were originally supposed to work. In those 1 to 8 seconds it takes our powers to work. Love the precision. Our power goes into overdrive. It picks up all the necessary details about those things, like people or fish or computers, sometimes reaching across the whole world to do it. Then it starts condensing down until there's a power set, stripping away everything it doesn't need to make that power work. So what this tells me is that if ghosts don't exist, there would never be a power that lets you control ghosts. The power would find something equivalent, something similar. Maybe you'd be able to control shadows, or I don't know, you'd be able to bring people back from the dead, whatever feels. I don't know. That doesn't feel big enough for the powers. Yeah.
What if the original purpose of the power was to let you win Pac-Man?
I can't say that's not true. There is this sense of before the powers come upon us, they are somewhere else and they are designed to do something specific. Are they in that, I posited some sort of like alien species or other dimension, bits of a godlike figure, something. So the powers existed and they were in similar but not the same form. They were meant to work on something else that doesn't exist in our world. And it seems like, from what we've seen of trigger events, not specifically from what Bonesaw says, but if your trigger event is similar in substance somehow, if you are brought to a point of extreme duress that has thematic resemblances to what the powers were designed to do, they can sort of come upon you and find a new subject, a new object, I guess, a new target to work upon.
Yeah.
In our world. And so stripping away everything it doesn't need to make that power work, and then before it can destroy us, before we can hurt ourselves with our own power, before that spark of potential burns out, it changes gears. It figures out how to function with us. It protects us from all the ways our power might hurt us that we can anticipate, because there's no point if it kills us. It connects with our emotional state at the time the powers came together, because that's the context it builds everything else in. It's so amazingly complicated and beautiful. So this is something that we've observed before. All the flyers have something to protect them from the dangers of flying. People who create fire can't be burned, that kind of thing.
Right.
So there is this protection because there's no point if it kills us. I'm really curious, to whom is there no point? Is it to the power itself? Is it sentient? Does it have motivations in that way? Or is it to whatever creates the powers? Did they create the powers intending them to come upon us? Because it seems like they were created for a slightly different purposes, or a slightly different purpose than the one that a human can give them.
Right, and it's interesting, there's no point if it kills us, but she also says we're accidents.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of this.
Well, right. Where does the point come in?
There is some intentionality, perhaps, but also there's no point is sort of speaking to the why. But you could read as accidents being about the why or the what or the who, right? There's some more ambiguity there. I would be curious, are there any powers that you sort of thought of or wanted to think about more in the context of what Bonesaw is saying here? How do you make sense of Taylor's power?
I mean, evidently her power was created to work on lots of small crawly things, perhaps, or just like vast realms of, on their own, insignificant beings, and controlling bugs and other related creepy crawlies is the translation that the power was able to find.
What about Bitch's power?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, her power is interesting because it turns dogs into these things. So maybe her power was meant to, I don't know, enhance some other creature.
Yeah, sort of the mutation is key, but the dog of it is the accident.
Yeah. But presumably it was meant to enhance creatures that are like dogs in some important ways. And so when she was in this position of desperately wanting to help a dog, that's why the power came upon her.
What I wanted to observe, without getting into how right or wrong this is, I feel like with the two powers I asked you about, this feels like it's getting at an answer as to how does the power know what a bug is? And how does the power know what a dog is? Which has some interesting implications for what Bitch learned at the end of her interlude.
Right.
And this bit from Bonesaw is kind of why I was inviting the speculation about, like, do we even know Rollo was a dog and not a wild dog of some kind?
Yeah.
Because if this pattern matching process is actually happening, it could kind of make sense for, in Taylor's case, there are lots of bugs everywhere.
Yeah.
But in Bitch's case, maybe the thing that most closely matched this process isn't your average mutt from the street. Yeah. It's so delicious. I love getting all this information, and I love the little pieces that you're putting together, and I love how it's not enough.
It's not enough. No. They're accidents. that implies some sort of, that Bonesaw has knowledge of the intentionality behind the powers, and how would she have that?
Yeah. She also implies a little bit later that Amy's brain rule, if it existed, would not be a hard limitation.
Yeah, I wrote down fault line was right.
Exactly, which is fascinating. And with fault line, we had heard about this notion of like a second trigger event being something that lets you overcome these limitations. And Bonesaw never mentions that possibility here, but she does kind of say, if we get you back into that mental state, maybe you can push past that barrier in a really, interesting way. And so the notion that these are mental blocks and not inherent limits is fascinating. And I think it feels convincing because Faultline was speculating on it too, right? Like, I feel like this is getting, like, somebody did the science. Let's not ask her too many questions about what she did. But when we see, publication from Bonesaw in Nature, right, we can look the other way and be like, oh, interesting. Okay, mental block.
Yeah, she does say the power connects most strongly with our emotional state at the time the powers came together. I wonder if Amy can alter people's brains. Can she alter the way they connect with their powers?
That's an interesting question. I mean, Bonesaw pretty much says in the chapter, I mashed up hack job, but the power is worse. And then she says to Amy, if we work together, the powers would be full strength.
That's true.
So I don't know if that is her knowing something about Amy, guessing something about Amy, or just guessing about, like, the two of them combined somehow.
Right,
like,
she doesn't actually know how Amy's power works. She does seem to think she has an inability to affect brains. She doesn't know that Amy's lying about that.
Right. So she sees, I would say in this chapter, Bonesaw sees the potential, at least for Amy being able to maintain the integrity of powers Bonesaw is tinkering with. But who knows?
Yeah. No, I was going to say maybe Bonesaw should have tried to recruit Faultline. Faultline wouldn't have gone for it. She's too smart.
Yeah. Bonesaw just wants a big sister.
I was rereading the chapter and, like, all the stuff about, I'm not a good sister. I've only gotten worse. The harder I keep trying, but I just get worse. Having had the incest revelation at the end, I'm like, oh, wow, she's really saying a lot more than we thought she was.
Yeah.
Oof.
The thing about Bonesaw coming to Amy and it being a miss, right? What Amy does to Victoria is what Bonesaw does to these people too, right? It's like, like it really is in kind, I mean, not in degree. Like, obviously these abominations are nothing like what Amy does at the end. But this idea of, like, I will, work with your meat, as Bonesaw puts it, right? It is, they're the only ones that we know about, and the scope of what they can do is so vast.
Yeah. Really fascinating to have tinker powers that let you do this with biology.
Yeah.
And the thing where she had to work on hack job with robots because she couldn't get close to Hatchet Face, or she'd lose her tinker powers.
And, I actually really love about the setting, right? So Amy and Bonesaw are both loosely biotinkers. Like, Amy's not a tinker, but that's kind of what they can do. But Wildbow treats that power set in the setting very realistically, because the two people with that power are a crazy child who is creating monstrosities, and a girl who is so scared to ever use her power because of how powerful it is.
Yeah.
And it's not like the thing in Last Airbender where all the waterbenders are like, well, you can bloodbend, but it's bad. Or the thing in Harry Potter where it's like, oh, but these really powerful curses, like the one you have that's Regent's power, that's bad. You can't use that. No, that's bad, right? Like, we don't use that because everyone knows it's bad, right? That's such a cop-out in terms of the world building of it all. So just to say, this power is incredibly rare, and the two people who have it are, of course, super fucked up.
Yes, and, in very different ways.
Right, like, it makes sense. Amy's the scaredy cat, right? You sort of need something to justify why she's not Bonesaw, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, she sees the potential to be Bonesaw and doesn't want it, and that's why she's so scared.
So, Bonesaw, is she not the best one?
Best how?
I love her. She's the best one. Okay, I don't know what it is. We haven't really talked about the horror show of it all because we got into the Amy stuff and we've been talking about theme and stuff. But like, what were you feeling as we got into her little creations and like hearing about it all and like all this stuff? Because this is my jam. Like, unseen monsters, get out of here. Like, sad girl who sets everything on fire, no. Like, I want Mouse Protector and Ravager smooshed together with a giant conical jaw and like skin staples and all this stuff. Like,
oh my gosh.
This is so good. I love all of this horror stuff. And it's like, and Bonesaw is the best in the sense that I love to hate her. Like, she's a true monster of a person.
Listeners,
and she's so charming to have
I want
around.
you to know that before we recorded this episode, I came down from putting our 2-year-old to bed and said that she was sticking her finger under her eye to like give herself double vision, and it was so creepy. I kept trying to make her stop, and like she just kept doing it. And Ted said, I kind of love that. And I said, I knew you would. She's in her creepy child phase, and this is what you're living for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Bonesaw is both a creepy child and makes creepy monsters.
So were you just kind of immune to the body horror of it all, or were you more focused on the Amy of it all? Like, how did you feel?
I think I was more focused on Amy.
Yeah.
I mean, the body horror was definitely, it was, a horror. I feel like it maybe you enjoy that aspect more than I do.
It's just so gross when Hatchet Face turns around and there's another guy on there.
I mean, it is gross. It's true.
It's so awful. And actually, I'm going to tie this back to a more serious theme here. We have the parallel of Mark's tragic disability, which traps him in his own body, where he's lost his function. He has a type of amnesia, but it's also kind of like after a stroke or something like that, right? Like he really has limited mobility, ability to do things, and all of the people that Bonesaw have messed with are still there in there, right? Like they're also trapped inside. Like Bonesaw has built these metal frames, and it works metaphorically. Like they're trapped in there, and everything outside the frame is just being puppeted by Bonesaw. And that horror is certainly less fun than the like I smashed two villains together and now they have both of the villain powers, but is also very riveting. Like it's so awful to think about.
I think it's a type of awfulness that you find more fun than I do.
Yeah, I'm trying to draw you into
and I'm just like, yep, it was creepy
paradise.
And scary. Yep, there it is. This is why you like horror movies and I don't.
Yeah. Forget M3 again. Like, let's have the Bonesaw movie. Like,
that would be great.
yes.
Yeah, forget trying to make all of Worm into like a single movie or whatever. Just have like a spin-off of Worm, the web novel, that is Bonesaw the movie.
I mean, not the worst pitch I've heard. Like,
seems pretty good.
They tried to make the Conjuring cinematic universe happen.
Yeah.
The Slaughterhouse 9 horror cinematic universe would be...
That would be incredible.
Incredible. Like, superhero horror movies lean into it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, hopefully some studio exec is listening and they're going to make this now.
If some studio exec is listening, what are you doing? Give Wildbow $1 billion. Make it all happen. The musical, the horror franchise TV show.
Yeah, we'll start with the musical.
Yes. The anime where you get 30 minutes per chapter. Like, let's go. Let's do it all.
The anime 30 minutes per chapter is really the way to go.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, our DMs are open. If you don't know how to find podcast DMs, we don't want to hear from you. All right, we've talked about Amy. You've talked about Bonesaw. We will definitely talk about them more. But I do want to talk about some of the other bits and bobs that we got, especially from the first part of the chapter. We finally get, and I wasn't sure that we even got this moment back in the Dragon interlude, but this letter that Amy reads at the beginning that Dragon sent to Carol.
Do you think Carol left it out on purpose?
Oh, I had never thought of that.
I never thought about it until just now.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I love
Carol's being careless, but did she want to let Amy know how much of a villain she thinks she's being by not healing
Exactly.
Mark?
Yeah, I wonder if Carol has Victoria's pushiness and Amy's sense that Amy is bad and wants to basically wave the letter in Amy's face to force her
don't be a villain like this.
to heal Mark. I kind of love that. Like, that's building a lot. We don't have enough of Carol to hang that around her, yet. But I really do like that.
I mean, one of the things about parenthood is that it's so frustrating. Like, you can force your kid to do many things, but like, there are always things you're like, this needs to happen, and they won't do it. Sometimes it's brushing their teeth.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's healing your husband from his horrific brain injury.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that theme of like coercion and violation and stuff, it's come up mostly between peer capes in the story, or like huge institutions and individual capes. But it's also a big, common, and necessary part of the parent-child relationship. So it's very relevant. But the parts that I wanted to call out are the passage where Dragon says, "We have too few heroes and heroines to lose them," which is like pragmatic.
Oh, is Dragon writing this
Endbringer
letter?
sentiment stuff. Oh, I assume this is the letter that Dragon wrote.
I forgot Dragon was writing a letter. I assumed it was just someone at the guild. No, of course it's Dragon.
I think it was literally, this is what Dragon said.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But I don't remember actually if it gets confirmed or not in this chapter. But then, and even fewer of the truly good heroes and heroines who set the standard for everyone else, parahuman and human alike.
Oh.
This is a knife to Amy's heart. Because her parents and family are good, but not to her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Devastating. And this...
that is brutal, yeah.
This, like, Dragon's letter, hearing Marquis worry about Kaiser's whole setup, tipping the scales for Amy's fall in this chapter, is a plot point straight out of The Wire, right?
Yeah.
It is like the human cost and large-scale human tragedy of like a small bureaucratic inefficiency, where Dragon thought to herself, I could have taken some more time on that, but this'll do, right? Like, not maybe taking a little bit more care and figuring out, how could I send this message? Or like, like, maybe I could do some due diligence and see, is it worth even bringing up all this stuff? There's just like a little bit of like, I'm just going to set this ball rolling, and like, what's one little ball going to do? Carol gets the letter, she leaves it out on the bed. A week later, Bonesaw shows up. It's sort of like none of this happens without that little thoughtless gesture of, I'll just pen a quick letter, right? And you watch this stuff kind of ping pong around. So really good and, to me, satisfying kind of plot construction here. We also get a little bit of the bad old days of Brockton Bay, which is a fun thing to hear about. Kind of, as much as the city has fallen on hard times, the Protectorate has actually made gains since the days of Marquis.
Yeah.
And New Wave was kind of a prior innovation to, like, New Wave was on the front lines before the Protectorate in the history of the city, which is really interesting.
Right with what we've learned so
like,
far.
Stuff like the unwritten rules feels like it's a little more recent, right? Like, Lisa's understanding of the cops and robbers game, like, wouldn't have made sense back in those days. And also, the timeline with Marquis going to the birdcage, I think, allows me to correct the record on something that I'm not sure has been confirmed, but I wanted to say on the podcast, which is that while Dragon does administer the birdcage, it is pretty clear that Dragon couldn't have built it, in her dragon form, because it's been around for at least 10 years, but probably longer, because Marquis isn't the first. And it makes sense. It's the Bauman Correction Facility. So it has the name of someone who's not Dragon.
Right. So, because Dragon's only been around for 5 years or so, right?
Right. She's about 6.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, okay.
So just wanted to correct the record there, about the birdcage timeline of it all. She inherited and administers the birdcage, but was not the creator of it.
Intriguing. I wonder if we'll find out more about who built it, perhaps when we break in.
I also, speaking of power science, Amy clearly has a power that is related to Marquis and not to her adopted family.
Right, not to the people who were around when she got her power, but something she inherited or was given to her in her early years.
Which is another fascinating, like, is the power system saying that Mark and Carol aren't her real parents, quote unquote? You know, like, it's obviously doing that on some thematic level, and, like, obviously there's a explanation that is not that. But I'm always interested in, like, you know, with Amy's sort of fixed mindset, I'm born bad. It's like, oh yeah, power's running families, and I have the power that reminds people of how my dad used to, you know, break someone's arm so the bone was exposed and then grow that into, like, a bone cage or whatever.
Cool. Horrifying. Okay, see, I thought that was cool.
Okay, all right. Bonesaw needs to be a distinguished, greasy-haired older gentleman, and then maybe you'll find her body hard. Cooler.
I'm sorry. That is not what I said.
I wanted to talk about some of the bad lessons Amy has learned, right? So one of her bad lessons is, oh, I can't trust myself around Victoria, so cutting ties to my family is a rational and good thing to do, and I should just wander off alone with no plan. Similarly, when she's thinking about Marquis, she's like, yeah, you know, Marquis is just like me. He had all those rules. One of his rules is he won't kill women and children, and then they sent a bunch of women after him, and they beat him. It's like, you know, he'd been too concerned about collateral damage to go all out. I don't, like, it's kind of like a bad lesson, right? To be like, yeah, he should have been, it would have been better if he just killed all those women.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, I'm just not sure that these equivalences make sense.
No, I think that the parallel she's drawing to, like, he had rules and I have rules, like, yeah, okay, well, you also both have a nose. Like, so what?
Oh my god. I have my dad's nose. He used to smell the people he killed. I'm going to be killing people too. I also wanted to bring up, now that we know what has happened to Flashbang, think about Glory Girl and Clockblocker in Clockblocker's interlude.
Oh,
when he comes up to her and says, hey, can you ask Amy to heal my dad?
Oh,
and
no.
And Glory Girl says, yes. I will definitely ask her. I know, you know, she has rules, so don't get your hopes up, but I will definitely ask her. Like, she does not mention this at all, right? Like there is no, I don't think there's any foreshadowing to the extent that their family is dealing with this situation.
Definitely not. Yeah. But wow, the parallels for Victoria in that moment.
Yeah.
Whew. And no wonder Amy wasn't there considering joining the wards. She was wrestling with her own inability to heal
and
her
she
father.
Wouldn't, as we've said, she wouldn't join the wards. I mean, I think I said she's the only one out there doing civilian stuff. I guess she's a rogue, and we've seen other rogues. So, like, Canary was one. Parian is nominally one. Though Parian has now, I mean, shown up to an Endbringer fight and also stepped in, to protect her territory.
Rogue? She's also a hero. Like, she's not going out in costume to fight, but, like, she's part of New Wave, and she has a costume, and her mom was like, come heal these people that got injured.
But I'm kind of saying, like, I feel like the why don't you go out in costume from Bonesaw was kind of inviting this, like, oh yeah, she's kind of the only one. Like, she is part of New Wave, but she's not. She doesn't take part
in combat.
Right, exactly. It's an interesting distinction.
We've only seen powers that are effective in combat in some way or other, even Tattletale's.
Right.
And so is Amy's, but she refuses to use it in that way.
Right. I did want to touch briefly on Mark as a parent. I get a very positive feeling about him from this chapter. She does say he's a sad dad. Like, he was inconsistent. He was not a good parent. He would get upset or forgetful, right? I feel like the insecure attachment she has to Mark is very sad and relatable. And it's like, it's really tragic to have a parent who's in that situation when the other parent is Carol, like, so distant.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, like, there's to some extent, right, Mark not being a better father because he was dealing with this, understandable. Of course, he was letting his daughter Amy down. But I think what we see from him, like, when Carol and Amy come into the room, he smiles at both of them. Amy is not taking it as, like, he's smiling at her. But, like, we don't really see anything from him that is negative towards her.
Yeah, we don't see him shame her for not healing him sooner. He's only grateful that she healed him now.
Yeah, she says, so sorry I didn't help you sooner, that Mark stopped her with a raised hand. Thank you. And then Amy thinks she didn't deserve thanks. Yeah. Right? So, like, I am happy to read this as genuine gratitude and understanding from Mark. But,
I think Mark's
she can't hear it. Right? And it makes sense. And he's let her down, I think, a lot throughout their life. But, like, it really does seem like she's so far gone that she's not even able to see, you know, that he doesn't resent her, I guess, is what I take away from this encounter. And, like, again, there's so many good details, but, like, Mark gets on the phone and says, Carol, it's me. And Amy's face is burning with shame, right? The feeling of, like, how good it is that he's back. And sort of this idea that she's been withholding that good for kind of no good reason. You know, at least that's what Victoria would say or whatever.
Oh, how awful to be in this position of you know that this aspect of your power would be really damaging to your life, but the people around you desperately need you to use it and you don't have a way out. No wonder she was planning to leave. Yeah.
I think I talked about it, but, like, this thing that happened to Mark, it's like, the sudden disability. Do you know the movie $1 Million Baby?
You know, I haven't seen it. I do know of it.
Yeah, I'll spoil what happens in $1 Million Baby, but it's set up as like a sports movie where it's about a female boxer and her male coach and how, like, she's, you know, doing the, you know, not literally, but, like, the Rocky story, like, she's getting better and stronger. And then halfway through the movie, she gets a horrible injury and is permanently disabled. And it goes from being that kind of, like, sports movie to sort of a medical drama. And it's about their relationship, and it has a really, really dark ending.
Ooh, I did not know it had a dark ending.
Fun fact about me. I went on a first date.
Oh, that's right.
With a girl in high school where we were both like, this movie is like, oh, like, we heard that this was a good Oscar movie and we're going to go see, we were very, like, pretentious 15-year-olds. We're going to go see this fancy movie for grown-ups. Bad date. Not a
This was your first date with this person.
Yeah, not a cute, sexy movie for two 15-year-olds at all. But yeah, the horror of just the situation that this family is in and that Mark is in is just, like, so well communicated. Yeah. In the first part of the chapter before we get on to all of the
other
stuff.
horrors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it is, I mean, I feel like that's the potential horror that lurks in every family relationship, every marriage, every, you know.
Of course.
Your spouse, your kid, like, anyone could have that happen.
Yeah.
And
connecting it back to, I feel like the text is inviting the sort of, like, fate worse than death comparison. And I think Amy even thinks, like, could she kill herself somehow? That might not even be enough if Bonesaw can bring her back.
Right, it seems like Bonesaw can.
Because Oni Lee was basically dead, right? Like, it's unclear that Bonesaw can literally bring people back from the dead, but it's sort of like,
Amy calls them Frankenstein monsters at some point, and I think there's a very direct Frankenstein comparison here. And, you know, that monster was brought back from the dead.
Yeah. More glazing Mark. He snaps right back into it with fighting off.
Yes.
Like, I love that whole scene.
Incredible. It must have felt so good to him.
And his mercy kill of Mouse Protector is also so badass. Like, he has no problem with a mercy kill. Honestly, he's probably killed people before.
Oh,
right?
I'm sure.
I love his, like, rest in peace, Mouse Protector. Boom, and then blood spray everywhere as he puts her out of her misery. Great, great badass moment from Mark. I do want to say, I feel like where Amy's at the end of this chapter is, I was right all along about everything, which is not necessarily a good sign. I hope that she can learn to recognize other lessons here.
Yeah. I mean, it was the self-fulfilling prophecy. That's why she was right all along, because she told herself if she ever messed with brains, she would do this to Victoria. So, of course, she did.
And I don't know if listeners out there will be shouting this to themselves, but I do think there's, to some extent, like, how dreadful it all is for Amy is really communicated well in this chapter. And I was thinking, she talks a lot about, like, she makes herself make eye contact. She makes herself sit next to Mark. It puts me in mind of Taylor thinking about how she has to force herself through the school day. And then just how easy it was to just walk out and decide she was done with school, right? Amy is at that point of like...
With her family.
Yeah, with her family, just being around them feels that bad. Mm-hmm. She goes to fill a cup of water and starts crying, right? She's not doing great. And that's before Bonesaw shows up.
Yeah. Wow. Yes. What a time to encounter a member of the Slaughterhouse Nine.
Another thing I love about Bonesaw is, like Armsmaster, she's bringing some new battle tech to the world of capes. Like, she's innovating. This is, like, new stuff. This is the best that she's ever been. It reminds me of Armsmaster, like, he's going to provide his battle helmet to all of the, like, PRT soldiers and stuff, right? Like, it's kind of like the status quo in the world is actually always shifting. And it's really fun to be reminded of, like, oh, no, Amy's maybe the first person who's learned that Bonesaw is this dangerous.
Right. Yeah. Tinkers, unlike other people, Tinkers will always have something new up their sleeves.
Yeah. Yeah. We have Bonesaw again with this theme of wanting connection and approval from Amy, right? She may be incapable of recognizing it, but she's here for a sister, you know. A lot of the Slaughterhouse Nine have been seeking connection in a genuine way. And no one's really...
That's actually true.
Yeah.
I mean, they do... That is a thing they're lacking.
Yeah. And Bonesaw's like, right, like, she's like the artiste. Like, the Slaughterhouse Nine, people are attracted to it because of her. And Bonesaw's like, yeah, I could take or leave them, but I want you, Amy.
Yeah.
Right?
She's like, a lot of them are fans.
Yeah.
She has this, you know, she is above them in the way she sees.
Yeah. Bonesaw has these robot spiders with needles on the end. I mean, even if she only had an army of those, I would love her. She's great.
I don't know. Can she fly using her own shards of glass?
Yeah.
I just love that aesthetic.
That's fair. I'm more of a Bonesaw enjoyer. You're more of a Shatterbird enjoyer.
We all have our favorite Slaughterhouse Nine
There are
members.
9 types of people in this world.
But we don't know what the 9th one is yet, because they haven't been chosen. Oh, speaking of the 9th member of the Slaughterhouse Nine, Hatchet Face. What a weird thing that this guy who can remove other people's powers goes by Hatchet Face. Like...
Well, I think it's a description of him. Like, I don't think Bonesaw modified his face. I think...
No, but, like, why does he have a hatchet in his face? Like, what does that have to do with his power? Did he just do that for fun? Like...
I sort of took it as, like, Hatchet Face was just a name for him because he was ugly.
Oh.
Like, it's about just how he looks.
Oh,
and then he
he
uses a hatchet, I guess. And he also turns people... Like, I feel like it's not a connection to his power, but I don't know.
No, I know. Yeah. It's just like, you know, your power is that you remove other people's powers, and so you choose to be, like, a hatchet-wielding, like...
Well, it's awesome, because all of these characters are sort of slightly different horror genre flavors.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Hatchet Face is Michael Myers.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He's just the classic, oh, you can't stop me, I'm going to come at you with a hatchet.
Yeah.
And he turns everybody else into a victim in a Halloween movie. Like, that's what his power does.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That makes a lot of sense thematically.
I feel like Bakuda and Bonesaw would get along. They have their implanted death traps.
Bakuda's in that same category personality-wise. Bonesaw, Bakuda, Cherish, Glory Girl.
Yeah, I've got a type.
Oh no, what does this say about me? You know...
To be clear, I'm not into the 12-year-old girl at all.
It's not even a lie, though. I feel like I have a little tiny bit of that personality.
Yeah. Right. I can't wait till I'm seen in Dragon and Weld.
Oh, I mean, Weld having that conversation with Vista, that's something you would do.
Yeah. It's true.
Are you Dragon? I mean, who wouldn't want to be?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I have to read this line.
Okay.
Amy says, I don't want to hurt people, but we can change that. We're not so different. You know as well as I do that anything about anyone can be changed if you work hard enough. Which is so funny because, yes, Amy can change Victoria so that Victoria loves her back. But she did it without putting in any work.
Oh, that's true. What Amy probably would have chosen in a different moment is to be able to change herself, but she hasn't been able to do that.
Yeah. And yeah, there's something here about Amy where there is no challenge to using her power.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what you were saying about she doesn't get any of the reward of healing someone that a doctor actually does because of the recovery time. Mm-hmm. And that's very interesting.
Yeah. It's too easy.
I wonder if there's a similarity there with Uber. He's the one who can like learn different techniques, but he kind of cheats, so he's bad at it. Yeah. I wonder if there's similar damage in terms of like Amy's so powerful. The fact that like skill and effort isn't required is holding her back.
Ooh, yeah.
We talked a little bit about this, but like Jack is clearly pulling some strings here. Sort of like Bonesaw would be happy to build her abominations and be an evil scientist, but Jack is the one who's like, can you do this?
You have to.
And also Bonesaw doesn't like strap Amy down and tinker her into working with her, right? Bonesaw is clearly interested in doing a Jack-like manipulation strategy on her.
She doesn't have it. Yeah. She hasn't gotten there yet. It's okay. She's got time. She's possibly only 12. Unclear. She doesn't sound like she's only 12.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you did point out that there's a timeline question there.
Yes.
I did find my favorite remaining typo in Worm so far. Amy reaches deep into... I don't remember if it was Pagoda or Mark. I think it was Mark. Into his arachnid system in his brain. Not the arachnoid system, but the arachnid system. Which, honestly, in Worm, reasonable typo to make. 99 times out of 100, you're probably writing arachnid.
That's so true.
But I did a triple take on that one. To be like, wait, is it called the arachnid system? Oh, I did want to circle back to... The moment when I was most against Victoria in this chapter is when she's like, Amy, what's your problem? We could get you a therapist. This reminds me of, sorry, Mom, my mom, the sort of like skip to solving the problem rather than like meeting you in your moment of emotional crisis of like, oh, but if it was that much of a problem, why did you simply not already have a therapist? Oh, no. It's like, and I feel like that does speak to something in Victoria's personality. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And yeah, we didn't even, like, there's also, like, the whole Gallant of it all. Amy being more distant after Gallant's death. But, like, we don't really get enough about it to dig in on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should wrap it up. I mean...
Okay.
I know it's been a whopper of an episode.
Yeah.
Would you like to say anything about predictions, or should we just get into the narrow, what's going to happen when we get back to Taylor?
I think we should focus on that. Yeah, right. I think that Taylor, I hope that Regent reaches out to the rest of the group. I don't think Bitch will, but I think Regent will get the Undersiders together, and it will become clear at some point that Bitch has also been recruited, and they'll be very mad at her for not telling them. But I love that. That's very funny. There will be the Slaughterhouse Nine are going to pull them into some activity, some challenge, some trial that is supposed to kill everyone who doesn't succeed. So we'll get the official
announcement of the Evil Hunger Games.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
Or maybe a surprise announcement, like what happened in the mall. Like, oops, now you're all in
exactly.
the Evil Hunger Games.
Yep. They're going to be manipulated into it. It will be an improv exercise that they are expected to perform in. And I have predicted already that I don't think the Slaughterhouse Nine is emerging from this unscathed. I think this probably happens fairly frequently at their recruitment things where, people try to fight back and they're strong enough that usually they're probably mostly fine. I don't know, we've got a protagonist in this one, though. I think it's going to not go so smoothly for them.
It's tough when your evil murderer gang that's way overpowered runs up against a main character.
Yeah. I think we're going to meet our main character. She's going to be working with Charlotte and Sierra, learning how to have minions.
Sounds good. Something just occurred to me. This was an Infestation arc part 2. Mm-hmm. The parallel that was just occurring to me is we get Taylor and all of her teammates making bids for power on the same day. Mm-hmm. We're just following Taylor in that. Yeah. But this is the Undersiders and Travelers are, taking control. Mm-hmm. And then, that night, we get the parallel.
Oh, it's so
all
true.
The Slaughterhouse Nine are making their overture to their person. Yeah. Anyway, the next arc is called Plague.
Ooh.
And the sentence begins, The first beetle gripped the corner of the...
She's testing the new doors that the beetles are able to open to let out her scary spiders into her lair.
In her terrarium lair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Plague, interesting. Slaughterhouse 9 are sort of like a plague, but the bugs are, of course, a better analogy to like the plagues of Egypt. But is what the Slaughterhouse 9 plan to do to this city to test people? Does that have something to do with an actual plague? That could get real bad.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, well, we'll see, I guess.
Or all of the above.
Or all of the above. Both. Why not both?
All right. And we'll find out.
Next time.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.